All right, guys. Excuse me. Welcome back. As usual, I am testing the audio right now. Make sure everything is good. Sometimes when I plug in the mic, I get Josh Turner's voice, which isn't a bad thing, but I have to check and make sure everything works correctly. If you hear a lot of pinging and stuff like that, we just had a rainstorm, so everything is falling off the roof and, of course, making noise. Let me double check here, make sure we are good. All right. I did see a lot already here tonight, and I did see a new one. All right. North Olympics. How's it going? Great to have you here. I saw that you said that you just got here. Now, tonight we do have Fringefiles. She will be stepping in here in a moment. Let me get my thing set up here, guys. I do apologize. Technology is grand, isn't it? All right. There we go. Okay, it sounds like audio checked out. So let me get my headphones back in here so that I can hear here. Now, if y'all have any issues with audio or anything like that, just hit the chat. I will try to catch it and make adjustments to it. All right, so real quick, welcome to everybody here. We got Anthony Electric. Very glad you are here, buddy. Always enjoy it when you show up, and I enjoy your videos, by the way. Let's see. Oh yeah, I saw that we've got a food dehydrator making jerky, which is awesome. I love our food dehydrator. I've actually got to do a video on that. JT, good to see you. I did see John in here a minute ago. I don't know where his text went. Helen, definitely good to see you. Kelly B, and I did see LCJC family. How you doing? Lady Liberty, how's it going? So yes, once French Files is ready to go, we will bring her in. So it's no big deal, guys. I do have a couple things to go over right fast while we're waiting. Uh, One, I believe it was my last video or the video. Yeah, I think it was my last video. I was doing the under $50 at Save a Lot, all the canned goods and things that we had purchased. Somebody, talking about my smoking. Okay, I know smoking is not good for you. I do. I'm not an idiot. I've been smoking and dipping since I was like 12. I turned 41 in January. I've actually got good lungs. I know, hard to believe. One of the things, and I'm not promoting smoking at all, it is actually bad for you. There's a lot of things that go on, especially with heart disease, and dipping is one of the worst things for heart disease. Okay, besides the cancer and everything else. Now, a lot of people don't understand is that as a smoker, my lungs are in better shape than most welders that have put in the years that I have put in welding. We have a thing called welder's lung. Okay, we breathe in a lot of metal particles, silicate, all kind of things from what the rods and the wire that we run. It builds up in your lungs and you get all kind of nasty stuff from it. Every time I have my lungs checked out, they can't even believe that I'm a smoker. No spots, no embedding of metals in my lungs. Reason why? My theory, and I'm living proof of it. The nicotine coats my lungs because I hack all the time. All right. So all that metal that's been embedded in my lungs gets hacked out. Now, again, smoking is not good for you. I will definitely be the first person that says that. But my lungs are good. Is my heart good? Hmm, don't know. I've never had any tests prove otherwise. All my EKGs, all that good stuff has always come out good. I have always took care of my body. Now, smoking is not a good thing. Sure, I've gained some weight since I've been injured. That's just because my limited mobility. So, just want to drop that little bit of information on y'all. And yes, I know smoking's bad. I'm not about to debate that at all. Now, let's see here. She is not here yet. So, there was some news I was going to cover before we get into this. I asked Fringefiles to step in with us so that we can talk about homesteading because she is actively homesteading now, and we will be homesteading this spring coming up. And my arm keeps falling off this lawn chair. Let's see here. What did I pull that? I gotta pull up my information here. Lexi with Dex, how's it going? Definitely good to see you. Typical American is also here. Typical American, like I said with the text today, I did get that sent out to you, so it should be arriving to you here in a couple days. With Veterans Day, the mail will not be running, so add an extra day on that, delivery date on that. But yes, it will be getting out there. All right, let me see if I can't find it again. My email's full of truck offers. Happy Prepper, how's it going, bud? Definitely good to see you. Ninja Scout, I like that. I like that name. Okay, in case you guys did not get to see this, again, this is from the Crack News Network, so there we go. But I did follow up on the story, and it actually is a real story. This was yesterday. Well, they updated it. They updated it today. Actually, about an hour, a couple hours ago. 10 hospitalized after insulin administered instead of flu shots. Genius. Now, this was in Oklahoma. 10 people at a care facility in Oklahoma were hospitalized after they were injected with insulin instead of a flu shot. Police say 8 of the patients were residents of, I want to say it's Jacqueline House, and 2 were employees. Sergeant Jim Waring of Bartlesville Police Department. The facility serves intellectual and developmentally challenged people, according to the website, the company that owns the 8 resident sites. And there's that rain thing I was talking about, guys. I do apologize for that. I have no control over that. EMS and fire crews responded Wednesday afternoon, found multiple unresponsive people. Most patients suffering symptoms after the medication was administered were not able to explain the issue, Waring said. Many of them were not vocal and not able to walk. All of these people are symptomatic, lying on the ground, needing help, but can't communicate what they need. That's why I gave a lot of praise to the fire and EMS staff for doing an outstanding job identifying the problem. What happened? They injected these people with the long release insulin, and they didn't need insulin. They were supposed to be getting a flu shot. Now, I am not a medical doctor at all. You're not going to inject me with anything, okay? I have not had a flu shot in many, many years. And when I did have the flu shot, I got sick as a dog and got the flu. So, no, I'm not going to be injected. Now, I do know people that are parents and their children go to public schools and things like that. You are limited on what you can and cannot do because the way the state is set up, especially when you are trying to get your children in daycare facilities and schools. I do understand that. I ran into that issue myself. So I'm not going to tell a parent what to do because I know the struggles that come with that. Myself, we will be homeschooling once we get set up in Wyoming, but I can't tell anybody what to do on that. I just can tell you there's a lot of dangerous stuff in those shots. All right, you can do basic research on it and see all kind of nasty stuff that are in there and stuff that you're scratching your head going, why is that in there? Anyway, Kentucky, yes, homeschool. I was homeschooled for several years in my young education life. The only thing I had a problem with homeschooling, I graduated early, but my social skills were very bad. Okay, because I was not around a lot of other kids. We were set off on the side from everyone else. But Hold on 1 second. All right. Fringe is about to step in here. But with our thing with homeschooling, when we get out to Wyoming, we have already made contact with local homeschool groups that are also pretty much homesteading, and we'll be meeting with them certain times. We haven't really set dates on if it's once a week or just once a month, where all the kids could get together, do things. That way, they develop a little bit more social skill with people, actually have friends. So that's what we'll be doing out there. Obviously, when you're homesteading out in Wyoming, you got a lot of work to do. Okay, it's just gonna be me and my wife for the first probably year before my two sons come out that way. Just because I've got to get everything ready. All right, we're building a lot of things from ground up. So when we get, hold on a second, let me read this. I guess you got a different flu from your immune system was weak and your body overreacts to fake flu cells that was injected in you. Anthony Electric, that is a possibility. Also, the research I've done on these via nations, there is a lot of bad chemicals in there. And yeah, your body's not meant to process a lot of that stuff. Now I see that they're talking about they have new flu injections for elderly, young children, and pregnant women. Now, I would deal with the flu. Okay, I can sit there, shoot my guts out for a couple of days, drink me down some chicken broth and some chicken noodle soup later on, drink me some Sprite, and I'll be good to go. I just let it run its course. But my immune system's better without those injections. I feel sick after those injections. The next day, I am down. I mean, I feel like complete crap, and that goes for several days. So yeah, I'm not gonna let them put anything in me. Lady Liberty, I was homeschooled, and I currently homeschool my children. That is awesome. That is a huge responsibility. I do know that for a fact. Okay, there looks like Fringe file is just now pulled up. So let me get my earpiece in so I can hear her and pull her up in the stream, guys. All right, Fringe, we're fixing to pull you up. So give me a thumbs up when you're ready. All right, got you. Okay.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes. At least this is working tonight.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. All right. Let me answer that right there. Okay, so I asked Fringe to come on here, guys. We already had her one other time before. We really like having her here. I definitely do. She is currently homesteading. She finally got everything situated where she is out and about out there. She is doing it. She's living what she preaches. With homesteading comes a lot of trials, errors, mistakes.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Nothing is. Anytime you do anything, do it yourself. You're always going to run into some type of issue. It's just it happens. Okay, that's life. Being able to correct those issues, that's where homesteading comes in, because you're relying on yourself, you're relying on the information that you are able to receive and make it happen. So I asked her to come back on here so she can talk about some things that's going on. Hopefully tonight we can get into a little bit greenhouse ideas. It just depends on where you live at. Your greenhouses are different. Okay, sometimes you can just use plastic sheeting, and other times you got to bury them in the ground a good ways. So hopefully later on tonight we'll be able to discuss that. I don't know how long we're going to have you here. Hopefully for a while. But if you want to kind of get into some of the things that's been going on out there since y'all got moved in, and if you want to talk about the process of getting out there, that is more than fine. I know you had experience.
Yeah. So tonight we've actually had a small little problem. I kind of figured it was going to be a problem, and then I just decided, I had texted you. I was like, hey, I'm gonna take a quick shower and then I'll be ready to get on. Whenever some of y'all don't know, and it might not make sense to some of the people in here if you haven't learned about solar yet, and it's something that I'm still learning myself, but for our system that we have, our charge controller is way smaller than what the system can actually handle. So in a way, we have to be very conservative with power at the moment. What this means basically is even if our batteries are fully charged, like today they were at 75% when the sun was out and everything was great, but they don't hold throughout the night. They drop very fast, and that's due to that tiny charge controller trying to do something that it basically can't handle. Um, so tonight, whenever we finally got home, we were probably on about 30% and knew that the sun's going down, so it'll drop pretty fast. And without even hooking up the generator, my partner was just like, well, you probably have enough time to go and take your shower. And I'm just like, I'll try, but I know how fast the pumps, especially the pump to the house, that's the big one. That takes up a ton of power. That's a workhorse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then,
Now, is your well pump AC, or did you get a 12 volt
well,
pump?
it's actually, well, I guess it could be used as a well pump, but it's to the rainwater collection stuff.
Okay.
And I could not, honestly, I could not tell you. I get AC and DC mixed up. I'll learn real fast being here. But it's just everything's still connected as we bought the place. Like later there will be some upgrades, more efficient things. Especially living out here, everything should center around being efficient and
yes,
and probably have some extra parts laying around for things too. But literally in the middle of my shower, all I've done is like washed my face and got my hair wet. And then, whenever the power goes out, you can just hear it. It goes dark. Boom. I just feel my water pressure go down. And I'm like, oh, crap. And our shower's on the back end of the house. So it's probably the coldest part of the house to be in. And I'm just like, oh, my God, this sucks. So I drained the power while taking my shower. We're on the generators now.
I was going to ask, are you on your generators?
Yeah. So, I mean, just that pump, I knew, like our small pumps, I couldn't tell you how big they are just because I can't get into the barrel to actually see how big our pump is that pumps water. But I know that that's a smaller one. The one to the house is like 4 times the size, but even the small ones on the system that we're on now with the crappy charge controller, you're basically draining 10% faster than an hour just on those pumps. So anytime I'm needing to pump water, I just go ahead and use the generator for that. I'm not going to waste power that I could use somewhere else.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to fill up a cistern. How large is your rainwater collection?
It will be upgraded to be bigger, but the first cycle that it goes through, that's 1,000, it's either 200 or 500 gallons, so just over 1,000 gallons. And then the system to the main home, that's another 1,000 gallons. And we would like to, that's honestly not a huge expense, especially if you set things up correctly to work efficiently. But our main goal is to get to 5,000 gallons first, and then just as you have money, add on from there. Because that's a really simple thing to where every time you have a little bit more money saved up, you can get a little bit more of a collection. And we've seen some serious droughts. Arkansas, I know, can already go through some pretty heavy droughts, but with the way that the weather's been lately, water should definitely be at the top of your list. So those will be kind of our first upgrades. It's more on the water than anything else, and our charge controllers.
Yeah. With the charge controller, I'm a novice. Solar, I've been using solar for a couple years now, and it's always been a small. You've seen the system that I have. It's just a small system. We got other things put back, but I do know the cost of solar. If you're going to run a whole house with a solar cost, it can be very expensive. And I have seen what works good for me is we break down our systems. Okay, like our charge controller, we even break those down because those larger charge controllers, if anything breaks, that is a huge cost of replacing. If you're not an electronics expert with spare parts, you're going to be ordering a $1,300 charge controller for a whole house compared to break them down into smaller wattage and smaller amp charge controllers. That's what we have planned. Those are
Yeah.
what we're buying. Like the charge controllers we're running right now, each one is like 230 watts with 20 amps. So I only hook up to two 200-watt panels. That way, no matter what, I'm not going over, but even if it
Mm-hmm.
does, the charge control is going to keep it from doing that. And yeah, the charge control would definitely, it doesn't matter how large of a solar bank you have, you could have 3,000 watts coming in. But if your charge control is only rated for
Exactly.
1,000 watts, you're only going to get 1,000 watts no matter what. The
Yeah.
rest will get dumped. Something
So
that we just did today, we had ordered some wind turbines, and that got all messed
mhm.
up because they messed up. They finally reimbursed me. I had ordered 12-volt systems because that's what we're running. We're
Yeah.
not running 24-volt battery systems. All right, I'm not crossing things over because that right there is what's going to get me lit up. Okay, so I don't play. So I just keep it on 12-volt. It's something I can understand and I can use. But they sent me their 24 volts. Well, they
Oh,
finally reimbursed me. And when I was fixing to order my 12 volts, they were 400 watts a piece. They just had an 800 watt for almost the exact same price, about $20 more with a 4-year warranty. And I'm like, and plus I got my little discount,
mhm.
$199 for an 800-watt solar wind turbine. I mean, for a wind turbine. And the start speed is like 2.5 mile an hour winds. In Wyoming, the average is about 12.3 mile an hour winds. Wintertime, it blows a lot harder than that. So we lucked out on that one. I'm like, for the price of my
Mhm.
panels, I'm getting my panels for about $80 a piece now. And I'm like, what I'm paying now, we're going to have solar and wind out there because in the winter months, you don't get a lot of sunlight out there. All right, summertime is nice, but during the winter months, it is gray. You will draw some solar, but not like here in Florida. I draw a lot of solar. So, having two different banks there is going to help us out a lot.
Oh yeah. That's something that we're trying to I think that as I upgrade the system, that's something that I want to think about harder instead of there being one central point where everything could fail and nothing wants to work that day. Especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you kind of need a plan for everything that can go wrong, just because it's not like going down to some local store and they're going to have exactly what you need. That's just not how this works. So I
Well,
think with
they got a
me,
tractor supply in Rawlins.
I don't even have a Tractor Supply store. I mean, there's like an off-brand. They would like to be Tractor Supply, but they don't have what you need either. So even going to some store, I would still just end up having to ask them to order my parts. Well, I'm not going to do that. So I think in the future, at least having a backup inverter right now, having a backup charge controller, because I actually have two inverters. One's pretty good and it handles, what is it, 4,000 kilowatts or whatever. I'm really bad at speaking about this kind of stuff. And the other's just at 1,000. So that little one was probably originally meant to go with the original charge controller that we have now.
Mm.
That's just not fit for this system. But at least that means that if I figure out how to connect all this stuff during an emergency, if I wanted to keep my fridge or something on for whatever reason, let's say both of the generators aren't working either, at least there are those backup parts that I could place somewhere for the things that are really important that need to run. And I also think that just having backups to stuff that should be good and reliable until you figure out what that problem is, it could take 3 days to a week before you really pinpoint where a problem is. It's a good idea to just have backups for anything and everything that can go wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
you
and
definitely want to
I
try to
mean,
plan as
along
best
with
you can.
having, yeah, I mean, it's stuff that I really have to figure out as we go. But at least I'm kind of one of those, I am a very visual learner. So there's a lot of YouTube out there that I can watch to learn something. And then two, I never really learn until I jump right into it. I'm
Yeah.
not the kind of person that can just read or see something and then, oh, okay, I know how to do it. No, I need to go through my trial and error and figure it out. And I mean, to ever get to a point of success, you're going to have errors. Things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you get to look back when you're successful. Like you've marked off the things that you know not to do, and now you know exactly what to do. So it'll all be a learning process, but I'm still very excited. I mean, even when things go wrong, it's like, at least it's good that it's happening now when I can actually still leave my driveway, or I have generators working, so that's fine. I don't know. I'm excited that they're at least just trying to hit me all at once, if that makes sense, because at least I'm figuring out where my problems are going to be at as we move forward.
Yeah. Anthony Electric, I see your comment there. Battery hookup says cheap and reliable batteries that have gone through a bunch of testing, so are good. That is another thing that people get into, just not just discussions, arguments with solar. There is a lot of battery systems out there. Now, me personally, we are going to be running 12-volt deep cycle solar batteries. Okay, now there's a lot of different ones. I do know that our friend Reed, Manifestation of Imagination, he had contacted me about some, I believe there were 2-volt systems, and it produced a massive amount of power. But what I ran into was the price tag. So using the 12-volt system with the warranty that I'm getting on these batteries, I can buy, and he even said you might get 1 to 2 years out of them. Okay, well, I can buy those batteries 4 times over if necessary with the warranty. In other words, it's not costing me anything for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
And now, yes, the failure rate may be higher, but for when you're on a budget and trying to homestead and everything else, because battery banks are not cheap. Oh God, they are.
No.
Good amp hour setup. Yeah, they're expensive. So yes, we will be doing the 12-volt. There he is, Manifestation of Imagination. There he is. I was just talking about you, buddy, and it was all bad, negative. I was not talking bad about you at all. I was just going over how we're going to be running ours. It's a money issue, and with the energy that we have, we are able to exchange them. So it'll work for us.
I think for us, it just depends on how much life we'll have left in these batteries, because I actually did have some things come in today that Reed wanted me to buy so I can get to testing those batteries a little bit better. And then our charge controllers is kind of our Hail Mary pass, and kind of like fighting on our last leg before we have to decide what batteries we might want to jump into and get. Just because of how long shipping and the cost of shipping is just stupid here, and tax is stupid here. That's something that actually really I didn't think about too hard once I moved back to Arkansas. Is like the tax on everything is just so much higher here.
Yeah.
And I can see that in certain areas things are better taken care of here in Arkansas, but at the same time it's like tax kills. That's not a big fan.
Definitely true. Like a lot of our products we're buying from Amazon, and other things I'm buying here directly. The tax here is not that bad here in Florida. Is actually pretty decent. So everything is going inside the camper that we're pulling behind when we make our trip. Now we're going to go ahead and leave here and probably 1st of January, not to Wyoming. Okay, we're going to go visit my family there in Panama City. They have property there that we can actually park on. I'm going to shoot them a couple $100 a month just to park the RV, not RV, camper. That way we can fill up water and stuff like that and dump whenever we need to, because they have the facility set up that way. It saves us on our monthly rent and everything here. Okay, we pay with our rent almost $900 a month. For Apopka, Florida, that's cheap. That is very cheap, because Kissimmee, Universal, Disney, everything is sky high. All right, what they call the campgrounds, where you just drive your RV, $700 a month. I'm like, y'all are crazy. So we'll be going there till springtime. Everything that we have purchased and are purchasing is going to get crammed in the camper.
That's smart.
With a very large storage facility. So we'll be living out of the camper to begin with, and all that stuff is going to get put in the storage facility there on property. When we leave, we're packing everything back in. Of course, I'll be dry running everything, make sure everything works correctly before we go up there. And then when we get there, I'm going to have to build a small shed first, just to put everything in, just to save on storage facilities in Rawlins. Even though when I checked on them, a good size one was like $47 a month. Okay, but it takes me an hour and 20, almost an hour 30 minutes to drive to Rawlins from the property.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that. We're gonna build a shed, just put everything in, and right off the bat, we're just gonna park the camper, and I'm gonna build a structure around it that's winterized, and that way we can actually have our wood burner stove working in that structure while I get the foundation. Because the foundation is actually the most expensive on the home there. I have to go 60 inches deep for the foundation. The frost
Wow.
line is between 50 and 60. When I talked to the inspectors, they said 60 inches. So to do the foundation, it's a lot of digging and it's a lot of concrete. So
Yeah.
since I cannot get a concrete truck out there on property because the road's out there, that's a lot of quickcrete, and that is not cheap. So
No. Especially it almost would be cheaper if you could just let the big truck come out, but
yeah,
you know they're not coming out there.
yeah, I
Oh,
actually had an argument with the guy running the drill well, and he's like, "Dude, I can't get out to your property." I'm like, "Dude, there's roads. If I can get out there in a Jeep," he said, "Well, you got a Jeep. I got a big truck." I'm like, "That's what we ran into with. We're going to do shipping containers first, and Central Florida prepper, you're going to freeze your butt off." Actually, I've been out to Wyoming a couple times. I actually like Wyoming a lot. It does get cold. Trust, yeah, it does get cold. But that's quite all right. I mean, even the house design that we're going to be running is 6-inch stud walls, and yes, it's a lot of insulation in it. Plus the foam board is definitely going to be thick walls and everything. But yeah, it does definitely get cold. That's for sure. But
yeah.
I love it. There's not a soul around as far as you can see. I tell you guys, living near, I'm not a city person, and being close to the city, I don't like them. I was trying to film a little video out in my side yard. Of course, I have the camera facing towards the front yard while I was doing something. I bet you I had 4 or 5 people and methed out crackheads walking, stopping. Hey man, you doing a YouTube video? You on that YouTube? Keep walking.
Whoa.
Don't walk in my yard. I don't know you. Who are you? You know, it's just I'm not a nice guy. I'm really not. I'm not a people person. I like
I'm
having my
definitely
space.
not to folks, just to people that you can see it the moment you look at them that they are on something hardcore. I don't want to be friendly. I don't want to make friends. Just go away. Just go away.
Yeah, actually, I have no problem modding Anthony Electric. Let me see if I can't find him again. Anthony Electric, could you type something so I can mod you? I can't find you in the chat there. Yeah, Lexi left Florida for colder weather. Now she loves it. Yeah, it does get cold. When I worked out in North Dakota, it was I got there in summertime. I went to that first winter. It was cold enough to spit and actually turn to ice before it hit the concrete. And that was -20 without the wind chill. And oh yeah, the wind was blowing. That was a lot of wind out there. There he is. Okay. All right, I got you there, buddy.
That's funny.
Just give him an evil look. Yeah, Fringefiles is scary.
You know what's really weird is like a lot of people have actually found me to be really intimidating or scary. And it's like, look at me. Do I look scary at all? I don't think I do, but I don't know. I guess other people have seen me mad and maybe that's kind of scary.
Oh, when I called Amazon about, we had a mix up on my reimbursement for I had purchased 2 wind turbines. They quickly reimbursed me one, and the other one they just lost everything on. And I was just out of like $140. I'm like, whoa, no. So I finally got in touch with this guy, and it took him 4 hours of doing whatever he's doing to contact me back. I just finished the video last night when he called, and he goes, hey man, I got you squared away. They're going to reimburse you, which they did today. Amazon's usually really good about it, but there was an issue for some reason. But they got it squared away. And he goes, I want you to know the reason I worked so hard on this for you is that I see that you're buying wind turbines. And, you know, I myself, I care about the environment too. I bought a Tesla. And I started laughing my ass off. Hey, dude, I'm not doing it for that. I am a prepper. I store solar.
Oh
I
my God.
get in the wind for alternative power. I don't believe this whole global warming crap everyone's sitting there running their mouth about. He goes, well, sir, I'm like, you know what? Are we done? Or I mean, I appreciate you working on it, but that's not why I'm doing this. Don't put me with a hippie tree hugger people. I'm not. Now,
So many people try to put me in that same classification, and then they hear some other things that come out of my mouth, and they don't know what the hell to think. They really don't, because like I'm the whole non-GMO, eat as organic as you can, plant your own, but I'm not a tree hugger. That's not me. Go look into what we're doing to the earth with all the batteries that you think are saving us. If you think that we are changing anything or doing anything better with how we're making these batteries, you have got it way wrong. You just don't know how you're getting your power. You,
well,
for me, it's all about
better on the environment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anybody remember what's going on with Fukushima right now? They're talking about dumping that water into the ocean. All that stored water. Well, the particular radiation in it is actually natural in the environment. Not that large of an amount. 100 million gallons being dumped is what they're projecting to get rid of it. You know, when they started running that water coolant and storing it, first thing in my mind is what are they going to do with it? They're just going to let it sit in tanks. Then they run out of room. Oh, we'll just dump in the ocean. Man, you kill the ocean, world's done. That's it.
The world, the whole world. Like, it's funny. You can talk to us about that kind of stuff, and we're the kind of people that totally understand that. But all these people ranting and raving, like a lot of them they're not putting their energy in the right place. That's my biggest problem is, do I care about I care about the environment, but I also don't think that we should all be freaking out over carbon. Like there's other things that, you know, DuPont, 3M, and Dow Chemical Company, they're making things that are far worse.
Teflon, I believe Teflon is there's a man-made chemical, I believe that actually broke off of Teflon, which DuPont, it never breaks down. They're trying to, I read a report that the Air Force was working on a plasma furnace trying to destroy this stuff because it's water. And I don't know how their tests are working on that, but they have no way of breaking this stuff down. So yeah, what everybody needs to do is like, hey bro, like all you gotta do is like smoke some 420, man, and like you think you're a good person, so because you thought you were a good person, like now you are a good person. In my reality, man, like I am definitely a good person. I've never worked a job, bro. Like, you know, I thought about working a job, but I'm not working for the man, bro. But no, he can definitely hook me up with an EBT card or something like that because I have a disability, man. Like I'm addicted to like thought. Yeah, I was out in Berkeley for a while as a train rider, and some of those people, I'm like, dude, get away from me before I kick your ass. I was actually a nice guy most of the time.
Oh man, yeah, that's funny you bring up the Teflon thing because that's the exact thing I was thinking about when naming those 3 companies. You know, you see it on TV. Non-stick. Like my cast iron is non-stick. If you know what the you're doing, you're fine.
Won't burn your food. It's great.
It's great.
If you do burn your food stuck on it, put it on the cold bed, it'll burn off. I hate the
C8 and C6, and that's all they do whenever they tell you, oh, it's PFOA free or this or that free. All they did was change one compound. You're basically still eating the same thing. It's one chemical structure off, and it does the exact same thing. And CFP is right. This stuff actually has a half-life of like, some of them it's 2,000 years, others it's 4,000. You're finding these chemicals in polar bears in the Arctic. Like, that's messing up the earth. Don't tell me about how my diesel truck, or I don't know, if you drive a Jeep or a big SUV, don't tell me that that's hurting me. And to tax me instead of some big company that's making stuff that'll harm us for years to come. Yeah, right. Your energy is in the wrong place.
I just saw a news feed. I forget what newscast it was, but what's the little chick from Greta something?
Yeah.
Okay. She was teamed up with Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're talking about all this climate stuff and being climate warriors. Tell me, Leo, how many gallons of jet fuel do you burn in your private jet to
Movies.
go
Yeah.
to Starbucks or wherever? No, you can't be sitting there traveling. Just like I'm not attacking him as a actor. Maybe when he was younger, everyone liked his stuff. I like that bear one. I forget the name of it, where the bear attacked him. That was freaking awesome. Um, Man, I can't remember the name of that movie, but that was good. Um, but YouTube, not YouTube. They were doing the whole climate concert. But
Yeah.
now when they figured in the amount of fuel that was burning in their 18 wheelers to move everything, it was outrageous for their tour buses and everything. I'm like, yeah, way to make a stand there, guys. So did you donate the record sale to your cause or no? But anyway, that's my rant. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry guys, we kind of ranted there for a moment, but
Yeah.
similar minds here. Right?
Yeah, I'm not a hippy dippy. I do believe in protecting the environment because that is our future. I mean, I've been outdoors my entire life, and I've found plastic bags in the middle of nowhere. There's not a road
Yeah.
around for good 60 miles. There's no foot traffic ever going in these places, and a plastic beer can, plastic bag. Granted, though, it does float in the air and everything else like that. It gets there, but no, I don't like that stuff.
It's unnatural to see that. It's just unnatural. That's weird. Oh man.
All right. If you'll take it for a little bit, Fringe, I got to get some more coffee.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Go ahead and talk about whatever it is you want to. I'm going to put you on full screen here.
Oh, big screen.
If I can figure it out.
It's all good. Oh, there we go. We got it. All right. So now I have to take the lead. Ugh. I know that eventually we were going to start talking about the greenhouse ideas, and I bet both CFP and I, in some areas our greenhouses will probably be very similar, and I would assume that in some areas they might be very, very different. I believe he's going to end up being quite a bit more secluded than I am. So for him, he might have to think a little bit harder on how it gets put together. But I will be pretty excited to talk about that once he comes back. And let's see. I know, I was just put right on the spot. Let's see. So I told you guys about my shower failure earlier. That's about the only bad thing that's happened today. I just drained like all the power that we had, but it was fine because we were going to switch over to the generator pretty soon anyway, just sooner than expected. Mondac living, I think just by heat management, that's something that I'm going to have to think about. In Arkansas, you've got every climate that you could imagine here. Like in the summertime, you could be pushing like 110 degrees, no joke, lots of humidity. And then in the wintertime, I have not been up here in a good long while, but I mean, we're talking about some negative temperatures and for days on end. And sometimes it just snaps right back out of it. It could be negative one night and then you wake up in the morning and you could go wear a freaking t-shirt. It makes no sense here. But that's what makes me feel like I have to think just a little bit harder on a greenhouse, just knowing one, how hot it gets, which that part's fine because you can open up some doors, add some fans. Your plants would be fine with that. But in the cold, I need to think about a way to heat. Yeah, probably keep some heat in there just so I can have things growing all year round. And I think that I'll end up adding some lights in there just to help. I would like it to be a room. Obviously, I don't want it to be completely done with light, but I think having sunlight and lights added could just end up being more beneficial for the days where it's just really dark and rainy or a lot of snow. Yeah. Oh, well, see, manifestation of imagination. I can't stand that kind of weather if there's no humidity. It's probably because I was born here. But being out just somewhere so hot and dry, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to die. I actually do better whenever it's humid.
How back? Had to get some good old coffee. Oh, don't let me interrupt.
Oh no, I wasn't really talking about much. I did want to get into the greenhouses and maybe what some of your ideas will be for yours, because you're going to deal with some insanely cold temperatures.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, in the wind, it's not one where you could just put a little dinky plastic
Wait, what?
garden up, right? It'll blow away.
What? No, no, I can't use plastic sheathing for the little plastic rolls. Uh, we'll be going underground for the bases. Okay, so
Mhm.
now there will be access for sunlight to come in to the plants, but we're going to go deep. We're probably going to go anywhere from 4 to 5 feet deep as far as digging out a massive trench. Basically, think of your outdoor swimming pool, big hole in the ground. All right. Now it'll get all trussed up and everything. Um, I'm probably not going to put a concrete floor in. The reason why is because
You don't really have to.
the upper part is going to be hard plastic. Okay, I'm sure everyone's seen the
Mhm.
hard plastic greenhouses. It's they have the sheathing for it. They're usually about 1 to 2 foot wide, so that's going to be the
Mhm.
upper part. So the sunlight will be able to come in, and they will also be TP'd off, or it'll be a straight structure, a squared structure, but they will be TP'd off just so that the wind rolls off a lot easier on it. Um, Now down below for heating, I've been going over some ideas. One, I was actually just going to put one of those little wood stoves in it,
Yeah.
and another idea I was thinking about was putting a wood stove and just pipe it in underneath the ground with ductwork. That way the ground heats up too. But see, we're not really planting in the ground. Um, Everything's going to be off the ground on
Mhm.
raised beds. Basically it's tables. But I think probably the best way to do it is just to go with a wood stove inside the greenhouse itself. But yeah, we definitely have to go below ground because it's just too cold. I mean, if I
Yeah.
went with the plastic sheathing, wintertime winds, it's just going to shred it and won't be able to really retain any heat in it because even though you got a furnace going on, it's so thin, you're going to lose all your heat anyway.
Mhm.
And plus the fire hazard of all that plastic. I don't want all that plastic around there in case something was to tear loose and land on the heater. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, those are. I still don't know exactly how I want mine done just yet. The dream is to just have something that is super controlled. That sounds almost really bad in a way. It sounds like evil, but I want a very controlled greenhouse to where not so much to where like I'm playing on my phone and telling it what to do, but to go in and know eventually have it to where it's at a very controlled temperature, because up here it's really hard to dig into the ground. Like it can be done, definitely, but it's just you don't know when you're going to hit just a huge chunk of mountain, just solid rock, and then all your plans kind of immediately need to change just
Oh, get
like
a
that.
demo crew, blow it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
immediately
know what you mean.
plans kind of get changed. So that could be done, and it is something that I've thought about before. Let's just say like the worst happened in the US. Well, I might actually want something that is done completely off of lights and its own little water system. Like if the worst happened here and you kind of need to be 3 feet underground anyway or deeper, maybe I want to have a backup garden that's already running
Mm.
and just ready. So, and if I do that underground, I think that I would keep that one quite a bit smaller. And if I decided in the future that I really liked how that was going, then I would just build probably something bigger next to it or even just add on to that. And right now, looking at material cost, it's something that I definitely need to save up for. Uh, Building a greenhouse from scratch is definitely cheaper than going and buying something that's going to blow away or just be ruined in 10 years. But to have something of quality, I do want to make sure I'm getting the right materials. And I'm thinking of that tougher plastic that you mentioned. When the wind gets to blowing up here, it's crazy. Uh, it's really I've already witnessed it. It's like, holy cow, am I gonna blow?
Uh-oh. I'm having technical problems on my end, guys. Something happened. I have lost Fringefiles. Okay, do y'all still see me, guys? Give me a 1 if you still see me. The rain's coming in now, so it's going to get loud in here. She said, hold on. Okay. So I did see Manifestation Imagination. I did see your comments there. Yeah, I have seen the completely in-ground ones, but they were running UV lighting using solar banks, and the prices was just ridiculously high for that particular project for the size of greenhouse I wanted to build. Now, am I going to be running a greenhouse year-round? Probably not. It'll probably be, you know, at least good 6-7 months. So, you know, not really full half years, spring and summer there. I mean, it stays cold a lot there. So a lot of crops will also be winterized, winter hardy crops. Let's see here. Okay, Fringe, I see your text there. I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully the rain above me there is not too loud, guys. All right, let's see what we got here. But yeah, I do want to get into the UV lighting for greenhouses anyway, just in case something happens with the access to UV lighting in our atmosphere. If you know where I'm going towards on that one, especially with, I like the sound. Oh man, it's probably really loud in it. Let me check my audio here. Hope it's not too loud, guys. It's not too bad. All right. Now on my end, it's nearly deafening because thankfully the mic is not picking up all that, but where I'm at, it's pretty loud. All right, let's see what we got here in chat. Florida population 21 million if EMP or solar flare occurred, or the major events, 9 out of 10 persons die off would occur, then there will be lots of people we have to hide from. Sheepdog, yeah, you're right, and that's why we have plans to evacuate if necessary. We also have our prepper community here where I live. That way, it's not just one person against the world. We actually have a sizable force here if necessary. It's not hail. It's just a tree above. That rain comes down and just comes off the tree, and that bangs on the tin roof. I just love Florida weather. It'll be nice and clear. Next thing you know, it's raining. And then it gets muggy. Let's see here. Sound like coins in the dryer. Snafu snaps, yeah. Fortunately, though, the rainstorm like this doesn't last very long, just for a few minutes. And then you'll be hearing ping, ping, ping from the roof for the next 20 minutes. Guys, I do apologize for that noise. If it gets too loud, let me know, and we can always reschedule the live stream. So I know it's very annoying when you hear a lot of racket. All right, so let me check my text, see what's going on with Fringe. All right. They always, yeah. Lots of coins now, absolutely. It was actually a little chilly out today. Wasn't too bad. Usually it's just so hot out here. You can barely even stand walking outside. But I actually got to break out one of my jackets today, which was awesome. I haven't got to wear my denim in like 2 years. When I was living out towards Daytona, would have some cooler weather. But now, I get to wear my denim. Thank you very much. Oh. Sounds kind of nice. Big fan of humor. I just put a fair amount of humor in my videos. Sorry, I was reading the chat there, guys. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you can hear me. We will be going to Panama City sometime in January, and then from January we'll be there till springtime, whenever all the passes and stuff melt. And I already know it's not raining that hard outside. Dang, it gets so loud. But the rain never stays very long. All right, it's just, you'll keep on hearing that drip and stuff like 20 minutes. Yeah. Man, I wish it was Levi's, but it's not. This is Gex. Okay. Next, I got to say at the I think I got it at Goodwill for like $6 2 years ago. You got 10? Yeah, no kidding. Let's see here what we got. Man, that's just annoying. It really is. Alright, so it dies off and comes back and dies off again. Little hailstorm. Nope, that's just rain. It just, when it does rain, it comes a lot of rain and then it disappears. It's just one of those things. Alright, well, while we are waiting on Fringefiles, if you guys have any questions or anything that needs to be addressed, go ahead and pop it up in chat and I'll see if I can't cover it. Yeah, usually that sound, if I'm in the Florida room, it's just as loud as out here in the shed. I used the hailstorm app to put me to sleep. I didn't know they had one. I used to have a clock radio that had hound dogs hollering. It sounded like they were down in a holler chasing something. And I used to listen to that to go to sleep. All right, well, there's Fringefiles. Let me put my earpiece back in so I can hear. And I'll bring her back up.
I have to set up on my phone because my laptop wants to act kind of stupid.
Okay. We can hear you.
So, cool.
I'm going to have to put in my other earpiece because it's deafening out here. There you go. The bars are gone.
set this up.
Yeah, it'll get the temperature will drop just a little bit, and then once this rain's done, it's gonna be muggy and it's gonna be. But it's not cold here. It's just when you go from 94 degrees down to 70 within a couple minutes, you get cold. Dang, that's loud. Hey, Fringe, I'm gonna put me on pause for a minute, just to get rid of the rain noise. If you don't mind taking take it over for a while, that way we don't hear that banging on the roof sound.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that's good. So, who is it that asked? The necklace is actually something I got. Let's try to get really close. It is a vintage PAMP piece. I like gold a little bit. I don't have much, but I always wear this little piece. My partner got it for me for my birthday. Just a cute little, I believe it's 5 grams. Let me look. I think it's a little 5-gram piece, but it's a pretty, the only reason he got it is because it was actually a really, really good deal from somebody that he works with often. And I actually can't find too much history on it. Anybody that we've asked about, some people kind of know that PAMP did a lot of just random stuff in the 70s and 80s. So some of that stuff is pretty desirable just because it's hard to find a lot of them. It's kind of an interesting, almost teardrop design, which they have not done often. So I don't know. It's just a cool little piece that I keep on me. I would hate to ever have to use it to trade, but it's always on me if I needed to use it to trade. So I got that. Why? It's looking like it's about time for me to get a new laptop. This one does not want to work. That's frustrating. It's pretty interesting. I really like it. I don't really wear a lot of jewelry. I kind of just have one little ring and my necklace. I don't really wear a bunch of stuff, so I like it. Let's see. It's hard for me. I have to go back and forth between the chat and then back to the screen. Yes. So I am completely off grid. This property is not connected to anything. Well, let's say that it is and it isn't. Like my propane tank, I do have a propane tank. So if that counts as being on the grid, then yes, I guess I might still kind of be on the grid, but only by the propane tank. There is no power, there's no water up here. I think it's just an old laptop. Well, for me, it's like not old. I hate how tech becomes insignificant in just a couple years, I guess. But the laptop's like 4 or 5 years old. And to me, it's like, it should still work fine, but it doesn't want to. So. Yeah, I'm not hooked to the GOV, so we've got that part right. One thing I will say to anybody else that plans on doing this, because I've seen a lot of different homestead channels and different people that get way out in the middle of nowhere, a lot of them make a big mistake. Depending on where you are, this could be a big mistake. The propane tank that we have, it is rented, but there's a reason for that. If you rent your propane tank, the company has to come out and service it. Whereas if you own it, no one has to come and fill your tank up. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If they don't want to climb a mountain or go somewhere that they don't feel like taking their trucks on, it's not going to happen. So it is actually a good idea to rent it. Ours is rented for that exact reason. If it wasn't rented, they would not come up here. So that's a little bit of info for you. I keep going back and forth to see if my laptop wants to work. It is kind of a neat point. It's something that I didn't really think about until we were here. And then I started looking at some other videos to see what problems other people might have had. And even though you want to be 100% independent, you want to own everything, that's, they won't come up here. But I mean, if you know you're going to be in a location that's difficult to get to, just rent it. Now, if it's a flat road, you've paved it in for them, you've done all the maintenance that you need to do, maybe you could buy it. I would go ahead and ask the company first. I am on solar, but in the future, I would like to add some wind just because it does get insanely windy up here. Anytime that it's a day that there's not a lot of, anytime that there's not a lot of sun, there tends to actually be a lot of wind. So in the future, I do actually want to add some wind. I think that if I did it correctly and put different turbines on different spots throughout the property, still kept close to like the power room, it would be worth it. In some cases, it's not worth it. It does have a few problems. Okay, so my laptop let me back on. Let me see if I can get back into CFP's stream from the laptop. Okay, I don't know where he's at, and I don't know what's going to happen whenever I click on this link, but I'm going to click on it. Oh, let's see. Okay, CFP, I'm going to try to come back in from off of the laptop because it wants to work. So I'm going to try. Hold on, guys. You'll probably lose me for a moment.
Well, while she's away, you get to hear the more of the bing, 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 bing. All right, in all honesty, there is a little Vietnamese laundromat right outside behind this wall, and that's what you hear. No, that is the rain, guys. Let's see here. It's amazing how CFP was able to turn a real lady for a while today. Wait, what? I may have not read that right. Oh man, I know that's loud, guys. I do apologize. Okay, there's Fringe. Let me bring her back up.
All right, hey guys. I'm sorry. And then CFP is just trying to get through that rain. We both have like tin roofs, so whenever it starts to rain, it does sound like, I don't know, it sounds like storms in the laundry, right? Like whenever kids go and they think it's funny to throw something in the dryer, that's about how it sounds. So I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry for whatever is going on my end. My laptop's been funky the last couple months. It's booting me out and not wanting to connect to the Wi-Fi. But everything else in the house on Wi-Fi is fine. So it's my laptop. Okay. Did the audio get strange? Uh-oh. Here you could see. I sound muffled. Oh. It has a weird tone. Okay, so now what are we dealing with? Damn. Let me go and see something.
Your audio is good now, friend.
Okay, I'm good?
Yeah, you're good
All
now.
right.
I'm gonna step back out again because it's clearing up here, but it's really loud.
All right.
Yeah, just if you don't mind, just carrying the show for a little while. I have to put Fringe on the payroll, guys, and unfortunately, Fringe, I don't get paid very much on YouTube, so you might have to take like $1.25 or something. All right, let me step out. So
all right.
you got the floor.
All right, so some people were asking, and yes, I am 100% off-grid except for the rented tank. Now, the whole thing with that is the only reason you have the propane tank is to cook on a stove like normal and to heat water like normal. Now, if everything went down, there's still a wood-burning stove. What's great about that is you can cook on it, and that means you can boil water on it. So if you had to take your hobo bath, you could do that from boiling some water. So that works fine. And I did go over why you probably shouldn't own it if you live way out in the middle of nowhere, just because they won't service it. The solar does have some flaws right now. There definitely are some flaws, but here in a month, maybe 2 months, like let's just say there's another emergency that comes up, it might be 2 months. But in about a month, we should be working and progressing forward and fixing some of those kinks that we have going on here. After all of that is sorted through and everything's working just as it should, everything's efficient, then I will think about adding wind stuff just because I'll know a little bit more about my system. And for a lot of people, it's not worth it to add wind, right? Like if you're in a place that has no wind or the wind isn't strong enough, then what would be the point? No, I'm not getting paid. So that's something to think about. And then again, even with the solar, if you live somewhere where it's always raining, maybe it would not be a good idea. Something I have noticed though, a lot of people say that you have to have full sun all the time. Well, on really cloudy days here, or even on really rainy days here, we can actually we charge still very nicely. Most people think that you wouldn't be pulling in a charge at all, but it does still charge and it's still pretty efficient. So I think that could also depend on what kind of panels you have. Um, that's something to look into. And I've actually seen some really neat kind of new technology. I don't know the name of it, but I've seen some pretty neat stuff where on really dark days or even during night, you can be gathering power. So that's something that maybe I would look into in the future. Not really positive, but there's a lot of really neat technology coming out. And the more that it happens, right, the more that people buy it, just the cheaper it'll get over time. So that kind of helps all of us out. Yes, we will have a winter season. Arkansas's winter is pretty interesting just with how it goes, because you can still get a lot of sun. Just because it's freezing outside does not always mean that there's snow or rain or whatever. Sometimes it looks beautiful outside, right? Like everything looks beautiful. It looks like it should be warm. You go outside and then you just freeze to death. That's about how it is. Trying to read some comments here. Okay. So audio is going in and out. I'm sorry about that. We don't really know what the problem is with that. I don't know what to do about that. I'm not really a tech person. So, no, Snafu, we do not have horses. At least not yet. Maybe in the future, but horses are really, really, really expensive. So, I could see where all the pros are to having horses. Like, let's say the whole grid goes down or something, and then we go back to the Wild West, and maybe I want to ride a horse. I don't know where I would ride it to because I'm not really sure I want to go into town if everything's falling apart. Uh, but I could see a horse being beneficial for something like that. The only thing is to buy the horse for a really good workhorse or just a good horse all around. You're talking about buying a used car at that point, and not a cheap used car. You're talking about spending a good bit of money. And then second, how much it costs to feed them. So in the future, if I found horses could benefit me on the homestead, then okay, I might buy some. But at the moment, there's no benefit to having a horse. It's just something pretty to look at. Don't get me wrong, they're beautiful animals and I love horses. They are just a lot to manage and take care of. Yeah, Helen Dixon, I have no idea what tomorrow will bring. Hopefully it brings me good things. I'm actually getting a little cold in this room because I shut this door so that way he can do whatever he does in there. I'm trying to read this comment. Also keep horses as sustainable. You will have to be breeding them. A ton of work. It is just a lot of work. I know folks, or I have known folks that take care of horses. They get into the breeding. They get into like rodeo shows, work horses, whatever kind of horse you want. There are folks out there that can breed them for you or have them for sale. So just for me, it's not the most beneficial thing. Could they till a garden? Yeah, they could. But if I'm just having to till my garden like once or twice a year, or even less than that, there's no point in having it. I'd honestly just rather have a tiller, put some gas in it and go, right? Yeah, so they're great. Just the all-around expense, that's where it comes in, is how much more am I having to spend on them than what I'm getting out of them? And that's where everything comes down to on a property like this, is how much did you have to spend on it? How long will it last? And what will it do for you? That's something to think about just on every little thing that you buy on a property like this, because you don't want money to ever be wasted, even in a normal home, right? But here especially, you want to make sure that everything you have is very quality and that it will last a long time with few to no problems. Problems will always occur though. That's pretty cool, Snacker. Oh, hold on, guys. Okay, CFP's back. I'm glad you're back. I'm gonna go grab a jacket real quick. I got cold in here.
I've got one right here. All right, guys. So hopefully the storm eases off. It's not even really a storm. Just a little bit of rain. Water hangs up in the trees, and it's too much, and it just drops right on the shed. So I do want to cover a couple things. We were looking at a well pump for the homestead when we get out to Wyoming. Now the well pump I was looking at, it would have provided enough water as far as enough draw from the well to get to our reserve tanks and everything to pump into the house. The issue I had with it, what really got me thinking on it real hard, is that it was a 110 volt, so I was gonna have to get my inverter and hook up on it. I did find, sorry, I know that thing is annoying. I did find some 12 volt pump systems that work good to 150 feet. Now, since we will be going with a groundwater well, groundwater in that zone where I'm at is anywhere from 30 to 50 feet, more or less. Haven't seen any under, I'm over 50 feet deep. So yeah. With that in mind, it worked great for what we need. And Jesus, after after our winter months there, actually groundwater is actually very abundant where we're at because of the snow melt. We have a lot of snow out there. So the groundwater is actually going to work very well compared to drilling the depths that we need to hit bedrock. And what they're going to charge us to drill that is outrageous. The well companies out there have a monopoly on everything there. Now, there's only like 3 or whether it's 4 well companies that would even work that area, and only 2 of them said that they could get out there. So the prices that they're, telling me was ridiculous. So we'll be doing ground wells, and yes, I will be hand drilling those suckers. So wait for that video. Yeah,
Now,
I don't know how great my shoulder is going to hold out on that one. I'll do my best, but I'm pretty sure I can hit 50 feet. It might take a week, but
it'll take a while.
we'll get there.
Now, for y'all, do you know how much rainwater you would be getting throughout a year? Or, because I assume that it doesn't come often, but when it does, it's probably really heavy. Or even, just in case if one time a well didn't want to work properly, even collecting a lot of that snow. My dad mentioned a really great idea to me, because I need to think about a way to rig my water containers, like rainwater collection, to where it doesn't freeze so bad. Now, the easiest way to get over this, guys, if you were worried about it yourself, is just take a longer pipe and put it all the way to the center of your rainwater collection unit. Because if it's all the way in the center, this piece is not going to freeze. Everything on the walls is just going to end up freezing. And then that's where you could end up with a busted pipe or something down the road. So I was thinking of ways to get around it from ever freezing to begin with. And I've got 2 different things that I'm thinking about. And one is actually having to use some power to keep it heated when I need to turn it on and keep that on its own separate system. Or my dad even mentioned, which the only concern would be your algae buildup, but if it's a way to keep water from not freezing and holding it, he just mentioned get a giant metal tank and just build a fire under it. Kind of make it safe so wind isn't going to blow fire everywhere. But for you, you have so much snow, I almost wonder if that would be worth it for a big metal container to just keep collecting that and let it melt down.
Well, if you had an open container, you'd probably be okay with snow collection. My biggest concern is the pollution that's actually coming through the air with all that spraying. But and I do apologize for that racket, guys.
No, you're fine.
But no, we have been looking at most of our storage is going to be housed up. All right, that's another reason why we'll have multiples on those wood stoves, so we can keep our water from freezing. I wish I was in a warmer climate where I can actually have water storage facilities. But like I said, the frost level is 60 inches deep. All right, so a cistern would have to be that deep just from freezing if it's full of water. So I can't just have a water tower sitting up. Now, during the summer months, I can use a water tower, but before winter comes in, I'm going to have to drain them. Now, I could probably use that for snow collection, stuff like that. But I just can't leave anything out because I have a giant ice cube if I don't. But yeah, you were talking about heating up metal. That's plausible. But if you have a very large tank, unless you reinforce that steel, that much heat is going to cause warpage. Like those wood stoves the one I just showed. I didn't show it on the video, but underneath the top of it is actually welded rebar. It's actually flat bar, welded in grids, and a solid weld. So when it heats up, it doesn't warp because flat bar sheets of steel will warp with a lot of heat.
That was my first concern whenever my dad mentioned it. And he told me about similar kind of metal. It's like, I'm not trying to spend that much money.
Yeah.
How cost efficient is it going to be for me?
Yeah. I did see a manifestation of imagination. You must have a really long shovel. No. No, they actually have hand drills. Basically, it's a hand boring tool, and it's just got a T-handle with a threaded pipe that you have to hook the couplings. And basically, you hand crank it all the way down. It opens up 7 inches diameter borehole. It works down to 5 feet at a time. Just depends on your sections that you attach to it. 3/4 inch pipe, and you just keep on adding addition. When you strow it, you wrench it down. It fills up the hog head on it. You have to manually pull it all the way up, empty it, put it back in. So you're only getting about 8 inches of dirt each time. So yes, the fun part is when you hit water, because then it's hard getting all that out. Now if you're in a sandy area, it's hard getting that dirt back out. You can't get deep enough. Now Wyoming has a lot of clay and things like that when the deeper you get. So luckily that'd be more clumpy material that's not going to break up in the hog head. So they're able to pull it up. Now, is it a lot of work? Oh yes, it is. It's a lot of work, and it will take me a long time to do it. Is it like you did welding or something? Yeah, I've been known to do a little bit of welding here and now and then. You know, I love talking to welders. Well, for people that think they're welders, they weld a little bit on their daddy's farm. Oh yeah, man, I use that stick, and you know, I welded the tractor together. You know, it's not the prettiest weld, but it'll hold. When you become a certified welder, it's easy to become a certified welder. I'm a journeyman welder. You have code, certain weld size, certain tensile strength. And when you get good at it, you know what you're doing. I mean, you're not putting too much heat in, which will cause stress crack and steel around it. Most of the time, Magna Plus will catch that, and you'll bust out your weld every time. But I like talking to these guys. Yeah, man, there ain't nothing to weld. Yeah, when you start working some major jobs, yeah, it's not very easy. Once you learn it, though, it's actually very easy. But getting over that learning curve, and that just takes practice, all right? It really does. I mean, you sit there, you work at it, you bust out, and finally, if something clicks, you go, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. And then it all falls in place now. So it makes it a lot easier. That is actually just the wind blowing the rain off the tree, and that falls directly onto the roof. Unfortunately, those old trees that are here, they're so high up, I can't trim them. And since it's not my property, I don't have the authority to trim them. So, and I'm not a tree topper guy anyway. I don't even know where to begin on that. I'll have a tree through the house within an hour. So I don't know how to safely fell trees.
That takes a lot of years. A chainsaw is actually something I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable using a chainsaw. I really don't. Not even for small projects. I told my partner, like, that's all you, buddy. That sounds really mean, but a lot of these people know my dad was a mechanic, which also means that I hung out with a lot of people that either used big equipment or just hung around a lot of small engine folks, right? And saw a lot of them come in and out of the shop. And I swear, I don't know if it's just people that are stupid or real mistakes can happen all the time, but I've just seen too many chainsaw injuries where I don't want any part of it. I don't want to do it.
Yep. When I was a kid, we had an old 1909 blast hole. We drilled for 70 feet, fell the top, went up. Yeah, and I've seen the portable do-it-yourself well boring uses water while it's drilling, and that's works pretty good if you have a heavy-duty tractor to hook it all up and bore it down, and have plenty of water stored up to work to flush all that dirt and debris out while you're using your auger. I don't have that availability where I'm at, and I've actually seen some massive failures on those where they had too much water going in and the soil was not what they thought it was, and wound up blasting a huge cavern in their borehole, and the whole thing went kerplunk, and they lost their auger bit, everything went and was covered up. So basically, while they were drilling their hole, it opened, all that water built a huge cavern, and then they lost everything. So that does happen, but ours is just a manual. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of work. I can use the glue gun. Well, I do burn my fingers. Hey, I'll tell you what, when I'm soldering, sometimes I forget what I'm doing, and I'll set my soldering iron down, and I'll be grabbing something, I just wind up brushing it, big old burn streak across my forearm or something. I'm like, yeah, that was hot.
Things happen. Sometimes you just get too comfortable, and then you realize, oh, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what we got going on here. Give me 1 second. Definitely appreciate. Man, I cannot talk tonight. I've got a muffled sound in this ear, which is the earpiece, and I got bing bang bong in this ear. So I'm not the type of guy that multitasks. Usually when I multitask, I fall. So and then I'm trying to look at a cell phone too at the exact same time.
That's okay. I'm not a good multitasker myself.
Yeah, with this rain doing this stuff, we might be ending the stream early tonight, guys. It is just so irritating listening to that. Lexi, I did see your comment. Yes, we would love to get up with y'all when y'all come through the area. Hopefully, y'all still have our number. So yeah, just send us a text or call us, and we'll see if we can't hook up with y'all when y'all come down. Trying to see if West Virginia was on tonight. I know she usually comes on at 9, but I'm not seeing anything on her.
I think that she did a post in her Discord that said she was not going to be live tonight.
Okay. I didn't want to step too much on her time slot there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what else we got? Besides, oh yeah, having a generator, definitely a plus. We will be having our generators at standby. Now when we first get out there, we will be running propane and stuff. And you know what? I really hate apps on phone because my banking app keeps popping up. And I don't know why. That's irritating. That's the third time it's turned itself on and went to my bank app.
That's weird.
I don't like that at all. It's a new bank that I went to, and now my app keeps turning itself on. I don't like that at all.
No, that's creepy.
Still got your number. Okay, good deal. Yeah, so we'll definitely have our generators as backup power supply. We will also be using propane. Because like I said, when we first got there, we will be using our camper. That will be pulling behind. Now that propane runs the refrigerator, also runs a water heater, and the shower for that particular one we're looking at runs off the water heater. It's not the tankless water heater. We will be getting one of those. They're only like $140. The tankless, it runs off propane, a little 20, you can get whatever size propane, but just a little 20 pounds fine. We'll be using that more likely. I do have a design for, I feel like I'm screaming. I do have a design for a water heater setup that I'm going to build myself. I'm going to get the parts for it and actually run through and make sure it works correctly, because the heating elements and stuff, I can run them off low power, but if they're not going to heat up the tank in decent time and they use too much amperage, something like that, it's not going to be worth having. So having the turning your phone off in case someone is trying to hack, that's a possibility. I don't lost my train of thought now. Sorry, I was looking at the chat while I was talking. I'm telling you guys, multitasking is not my thing.
It's hard.
And it's not even raining outside anymore. That's just the stuff built up on the trees. Yeah. Freaking crazy. So yeah, we will be storing up propane. That's the thing. I will be looking into I don't know if you ever remember those old kerosene heaters, the little stand-up jobs. They have the big tank in the bottom. It's like a 1.1 gallon tank. I grew up with those, and those things are awesome. So
They're
we're gonna have
great.
one of those anyway, just to have a backup, because kerosene stores a lot longer than gasoline. So propane, of course, it stores for seems like forever. Well, you know, we're going to run the cost. Is propane cheaper out there, or is kerosene cheaper? But having multiple ways, as being a prepper, having many different ways of creating and generating heat is priority. So if we run out of kerosene, we have propane. If we run out of propane, we got electric. Have been looking at a lot of 12-volt heater systems. Now, the larger ones are expensive. I mean, not expensive. They just draw a lot of power. I have been looking at that, and they draw a lot of power. So we might not be doing electric heating.
Yeah, they do just draw way too much power. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a little electric heater. They're really nice. They're very convenient. But as of right now, it seems like most of what's on the market, it's going to draw up a ton of your power. It's appliances like that tend to just drain something.
Yeah, I mean, we have those roll around oil-filled radiators. Looks like a radiator. We have those, and you know, we use them here when it's just the cold snap, which isn't often down here. But the power rating those things draw, it's like 1,800, 1,900 watts.
Yep.
And it takes a long time for those things to heat up, and let alone heat up a small room.
Yeah.
So running one of those things, it's going to be a huge drain on the power bank. Now, are we going to keep it? Yeah, as you know, as a backup. But we have to look at other ways of heating. One of the reasons why we're going with wood stove is because we have a way of heating. And yeah, it just turned itself back on. Asking for my passcode. I'm not giving you my passcode. This is ridiculous. What is up with this? All right, I'm turning off my cell phone. Hopefully no one's trying to call me.
Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
I don't like that. That's like the 4th time it's turned itself on. All right.
Yeah, manifestation, that's about the only good option going with electric.
Yeah, am I typing? I'm using my mind powers to type.
I'm actually thinking of doing, there's a link that my dad sent me. It's some kind of YouTube link, and it's solar heating. And then I think if you connect something differently, you can do solar cooling as well and not draw too much power. But I was explaining to him whenever he was up here that I wanted to do my power bank room just a little bit better anyway, have it be insulated, have things be a little bit more protected from the elements, and still have all the ventilation that I need. I think to keep everything really happy, all of my electric components, my batteries, everything else, I would like it to where whenever it does get to below freezing here, just negative whatever it wants to be that night, I would like to make it to where everything in there doesn't have to be that cold along with the weather. Or let's say it's a day where it's 108 degrees, because we just have those wild swings. I might want something in there to cool that room down too. The more stable I can keep that stuff, I bet the longer life I end up getting out of it.
Yeah. It's a Sweet Liberty, the crazy stealth bunker sending Morse code. Yes. Remember for those who watch More People TV, Adam was just recently talking about AI. Yes. Skynet has taken over the bunker. Fuel snaps. We will have gasoline on hand for the generators and for the truck. We will have kerosene on hand for the heater. We will have wood and also wood pellets for the wood burning stove and propane. So yeah, that's what we will have. Because out there, when it snows, we're not leaving. We're stuck. There is no rolling out there. I mean, some of those snow drifts are 4 to 5 feet deep. So yeah, unless I am going to shovel 18 miles of snow to get to the interstate. And a lot of times in Wyoming, the interstate gets shut down. There's a lot of times they shut them down because they're unpassable. So yeah.
That's going to be kind of the same for us. We won't be stuck with like a 5-foot wall of snow or anything, but 1 to 2 feet maybe. And our big problem is going to be ice. It'll actually be just ice. I mean, one, to get out of the driveway, to get out, it's just like a straight shot. Well, it's not even straight. It's kind of curved, but very steep downwards, down a mountainside. And then the moment that you ever even get to a main road, all of that is still just crazy steep mountains too. So the moment that it snows here, I don't think we're leaving. We're actually supposed to get some snow on Monday, I think. Or it's a possibility. I don't know if we'll get snow, but it is a possibility. So we'll end up seeing what happens and see if we get stuck or not.
Daisy Taylor, that is a negative. You asked, do we spend winters in Wyoming and summers in Florida? No. I worked in Wyoming several times, and we purchased land out in Wyoming. We're actually going to be homesteading out there. Now, my brother purchased land out in Wyoming, and he spends winter in Panama City and goes up to Wyoming during the summertime and just parks his RV because he got property out there, so it's rent free. He does a little hunting and stuff like that. I was born in Florida. I wasn't raised there. I was raised up in the Carolinas, North Carolina, and I am not a Florida boy. I do not like heat and humidity. It just does not go very well with me. I am the missing link between man and ape. I am a hairy individual. So I like it nice and cool. I have my own electric blanket. My wife gets mad at me because I'll be stripping off the blankets and stuff. Says, well, you know, I can't help it that you're that hot. I'm like, you know I am. Thank you. I do not. I have the air conditioned down to like 64 at night, and I cannot sleep with that. My sinuses get all congested. I cannot breathe unless it's cold. If it's hot, I'm done. I just don't deal with heat very well. Let's see what we got here. There's West Virginia. Hey, WV, I was just checking to see if you had a live stream up tonight or not. Oh, and I found out why most of my notifications were not working on Discord, because somehow I managed to turn off all my notifications on Discord. Same with Twitter. And so when I went back to go check things, the little icon was there, but I didn't hear no noises. Because I don't shut off my phone at night in case family have to call me. But I turn off everything else because every 10, 15 minutes someone's posting something at 3 o'clock in the morning and I hear it, which is right there near my head, and I'm waking up to see what's going on. So yeah. Born in Florida, I hate the heat. Yeah, Lexi. It gets hot down here, that's for sure.
Oh, man.
So yeah, WB, while we have you here, I'll send you a text just to make sure. Definitely would like to have you on next Friday before your live show, if that still sounds good with you. I know I got to get everything scheduled. Let's see here. What else we got? All right, guys, you got any questions? Fringe is here. She does have access to internet. Everything seems to be working right now. So if you guys have any questions for her, please feel free.
Yeah, I do. I don't always know what exactly to talk about or what's going to bore somebody or what.
Well, I found out when people get bored, they just go find something else to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have some of my family coming up tomorrow, which should be interesting. They came for half a day, not too long after we got here. And I guess that they had such a good time that now they want to come back and they want to stay tonight. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how that goes. They didn't realize that they were like 100% off grid until they were leaving. Like I remember being on the phone with my mom the night before, and I just don't think she knew what to expect. Like she even asked, she was like, "You have smoke detectors, right?" And it's like, duh, I have smoke detectors. I would like even more, but I do have what I need. So I don't know if she like just pictured this tiny little cabin up in the woods where all you have is like the wood stove and maybe a sink. I don't know what she pictured, but they got here and they thought it was really cool. So I think it kind of helped expand their mind to what it might mean to live off grid. That not all of us are going without, washing our clothes or taking a shower or whatever it might be. Like we have a lot of normal convenience.
I'm not laughing at you.
No, I get it.
I don't know how loud it is on your end. Here it is deafening when it does that.
But yeah, I think a lot of people just, the moment that you say that you might live off grid, they expect something totally different from what is possible. I think it's important for people to realize that if you want to be off grid, it all depends on how you want it to be. If you want to be that person that just has the wood stove and a small little place to take a shower, that can be you. Or you can run a whole normal household. I'm not a big fan of the microwave, but if you wanted to, you could build a house big enough and have a power bank big enough to support a microwave. You just need to build things to your size.
Yeah.
Like nothing is impossible anymore. So whatever imagination you have that you want to go and do, just run with it because it's totally possible now.
Yeah, absolutely.
After your friends and family realize that too, maybe it would inspire them to be more independent because then they see that they don't have to be without those luxuries. Like while the family was here, we had like a basketball or a football game on in live time. It doesn't feel like you're off grid whenever you're watching sports in live time.
Yeah. My wife just went somewhere, Winter Park or something like that. One of her childhood friends gets to travel around and spend money, go to the fancy places. But anyway, he came down, flew down, and wanted to spend the day with her. So they went out. I think I was doing a video on something. Anyway, I stay home. But they got talking about going to Wyoming, and he is completely terrified. I don't understand why you're doing this. All right, it's different type of he's not a prepper at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he doesn't understand, and I'm not trying to sound sexy because women do the exact same thing as men when it comes to homesteading, but doesn't understand that I can pretty much build anything. I can pretty much destroy anything. There's a difference between my trade and other people that sit down at a table doing a little TIG weld. I'm the guy climbing steel, okay? And she's trying to explain to him about this homestead and adventure. Well, I don't understand that. How are you going to get food? Well, one, we got a truck. Two, we do have some money. We can go to the store. The stores are not gone yet. Three, Joe knows how to garden, okay? Mm-hmm. Knows how to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Not an issue. Well, you're just so far away. No one can be there. The police can't show up if you need them. No one can show up. That's the thing. We're away from everybody, and it just terrified this individual. Now, this individual stays in the hubs of the city, all right? Mm-hmm. He does not branch out. The experience of Wyoming, this individual, sorry, it's loud here. I can't even hear myself talk. Their experience of Wyoming is Jackson Hole. They go to the spas and have a girl day. That is their Wyoming experience. I'm like, you know what? Well, I don't know if I can go out there. That's fine. You don't have to go out there. Well, I gotta see my girlfriend. Dude, don't worry about it. You don't have to come out there. As a matter of fact, You can stay where you are. That's quite all right with me. But yeah, it just surprises me. Which it's not really a surprise. I know how people are in certain situations. They're just like blown away. So how are you going to have power? Is it going to be a little house on the prairie? It could be if that's what I wanted. I don't have a problem with that. I want certain things for my wife. She likes to have certain amenities, which makes life easy. Okay, so you plan like you said. Your power supply. You make plans and you build off of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not that hard. It's just a matter of how civilized or uncivilized you want to be. And I would honestly say even someone that doesn't have power, if they chose not to have power, I'm not going to look at them and think that they're uncivilized. That's what they chose to do. That's how they want to live. And just you just have the endless possibilities now. The only thing that really holds you back is the money aspect. But what's great about something like solar or wind, or if your state would let you using water flow for energy, the great thing about all of that is you can start on something very, very small, very basic, just 1 or 2 panels. And then as you have money, add on to that. You got a little bit more money, add on to that. Like, a lot of people, unless you have a ton of money in your pocket, you don't just boom set up and have everything set up with this kind of lifestyle. If you've got a ton of money sitting in your back pocket, then go ahead, spend it and have a heyday, and everything's all set up for you, and someone put it together for you. Great. But I think that there's honestly a bigger advantage to having to work really hard for that stuff that you want. And 2, there's an advantage to putting it together yourself. That super rich person, although that they feel like they're way far away from everything, they're totally independent because someone put their whole system together. Do you think that they're going to know what to do the moment that something fails and they can't call someone immediately to come and fix it? No, that guy's as screwed as the next guy. I mean, there's a real advantage to you building this slowly and knowing the ins and outs of your system. You know it like the back of your hand. And then you're not scared at all.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you on if you do your systems yourself, even with your own plumbing, your own wiring, everything, exactly everything inside and out. And that's the way things used to be. Okay. A lot of people forget, they get nervous. They go, well, how about this? How about that? That's the way it was before. All these great things we have now, the way of living is how society today is expectation of living. Me personally, that's not living, working nonstop for somebody else and never have anything. That has always upset me, mainly because I watched my father, my granddad work their lives off. And, they finally get up enough money to take a 3 to 5 day vacation after 2 years, killing themselves every day. And then they're so tired when they do have vacation, all they want to do is rest up. Okay. Exactly. Having your own spot, you are in charge of everything. No one can tell you anything as long as you abide by whatever the laws of the land say about coding. As long as you abide by that, no one can tell you anything about your property. That is your property. All right. Where I'm at, there's a lot of leeway there.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there. No EMS, no fire department, no police, nobody. I can't wait for that census man to show up. It'll be like, oh, brother, where art thou? I'm Nick, the census man. Now that's a good boy. I love that show. That thing's awesome.
I think that's actually a big reason we wanted to go and do this. I hope he doesn't mind me saying a little bit about him, my partner, and a little bit for myself too. Every single day, whenever you turn on the news, there's at least one story about how these helpless or entitled millennials need this or that. Now, coming from the younger people, I do think that older folks might be a little bit hard on us because whenever y'all were growing up, you could go and find a job anywhere. You didn't need a degree for every little thing. You're at a point now where they almost want you to have a degree to work at Walmart, which is retarded. I'm surprised we don't have burger flipping degrees at this point. So you're asking someone so young, as soon as you get out of high school, you need to jump into 15K worth of debt or more to go out and get a job that's not there for you, to go out and support a family, which isn't going to happen because everyone's telling you that a family is like the worst thing you could do. And they want women to wait until they're in their like 30s or 40s to have one, if they want to have one. And a lot of that stuff is just, it's irritating because I'm sure a lot of millennials want to go out there and work really hard. Some of them, now I get a lot of them are actually very lazy, but it's because they didn't grow up in a time period where you really had to go out and work. A lot of these people have just seen people being lazy. And that's something that both of us really did not. We don't want things to come easy. We understand that there could be a day where things are not going to be as easy as they are today, where I can go to the grocery store and I can get food. I could get clean water. For us, we actually have to clean our own water. But I could go to the water and get, go to the store and get that clean water, whatever. Or knowing how to fix things. For my partner, he did not have a bad dad at all. His dad is great, right? But to be a great dad, he was taught that you need to go and work constantly so you can provide for your family, which in return meant that dad wasn't always there in the household to teach sons how to do what they needed to do, right? Like just to be a man of the household. And that's why we have millennials now that can't even change their own tires. I mean, we're talking about a tire, not change your oil, not figure out if you need to just change some spark plugs. Like, we're just talking about a tire. They can't even do that. So that's something that I think me and my partner both just kind of find disgusting, is we should not be that useless. It's scary how, in a way, useless society has become. And I don't want to be that person. For the little bit that's still here, for what people know how to do, before folks older than me die off, I want to know what they know, right? Like there's still some things where I wouldn't know how to fix it or how to get around the problem. But with the older folks that are here now, whenever I have questions, I can go and ask them. And I better learn now before all of these people that know how to do things die off. That sounds really depressing, but there's going to be a point, like when people my dad's age die off, that's whenever I'm really scared for which direction this world is going. That's the last crop of real men and real women that know how to do what God put them on this earth to do.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a rant. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I was catching between the downfall here.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with you on that. Now, in my trade, you do have some with degrees. I don't know what type of degrees they got because it's just welding. You have certifications. Now, when I went to trade school, they had something called a welding degree, which is mathematics, blueprint, basic drafting. Well, I went ahead and did that, but there's no more than anything else we already did. If you have to work as a fitter, you have to be able to read a print. If you got to weld something out, you got to be able to read a print, at least on the type of jobs I'm on. But I thought it was very funny. I went to, I've been welding for a very long time. I worked a lot of high-end jobs, and I went to go apply for this welding job somewhere. Usually as long as you can pass a welding test and your background's not all messed up, which most welders have a background, trust me. Where back with my generation of welders and prior, this salt of the earth, all right, plenty of bar fights and stuff, but hanging out with Boilermakers would do that. But anyway, I remember filling out the application, put down all my job history, as far as I could. Handed it to the lady. I got my welding gear. When you go for a welding job, you bring your welding gear. Man, it's so loud here. You dress the part. All right, you got your denims on. You got everything with you ready to go. Because that's how it's set up. Every time I worked as a supervisor, if someone came in, they better be prepared for welding tests. Okay, that's great. Did you bring a resume? Look, they're like, a what? A resume. I looked right at her. I'm not applying for a CEO position. I'm here to weld. That's my information there. So she's turned me away. So I had to go figure out how to make a resume because I never filled one out. And it's exactly what the information I put on my application. Identical. I take it in there. This is perfect. Everything's great. I'm like, when I finally went back to take my welding test, I'm looking at the guy. I said, dude, I talked to him about it. He says, I don't know. She's got some degree in such and such. I'm like, she's a secretary. Okay.
Yeah.
What does she do? Well, she takes your paperwork and she hands it to me. Okay. So now I'm already ticked off, and I'm not talking bad about secretaries, okay? But I'm already ticked off that I'm here for a welding job. I'm getting ready to go burn rods for the next 2 hours to make a weld test, and hopefully I pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already upset because of this resume crap. And I'm like, dude, really? Yeah, I've never heard of resume before in my life either till I started my own business. It's just to keep the riffraff out. I said, really? I said, did you read my resume? Well, yeah. I said, did you read my application? Yeah. I said, I'm not interested in the job. And I turned around and walked out. That dude called me for like a week. Man, we would really like to have you here. I said, no, you done pissed me off. Mm-hmm. As a welder, with the certs I had, a lot of my certifications expired because if you're out of work and you're not working during those after a year, mm-hmm. you have to be recertified. So my certs have expired. I have to go pay to get them retested. But, you know, some of these, I call them jackleg companies. I'm looking at my dude, you're running ductwork, okay? Well, this is galvanized such and such system. Like, it's sheet metal rolled up in a tube. Any idiot can weld it. No problem. Zip, 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 done. Okay. Well, you did that fast. I'm like, yeah, this is like 101 this is preschool stuff. This isn't even 101. Well, we could probably get you about $12 an hour, and that's pushing. I'm like, okay, I'm gone. I said, dude, I don't work for $12 an hour. Are you crazy? I said, I didn't even work. Actually, my first welding job, I was 96. I was working for $8.25, and minimum wage was like $7 something. You know, I'm like straight out of welding school, hanging steel. I should have went to college or something like that. I don't know. I didn't have that type of opportunity growing up to go to college. But no matter what, I can get a job as a welder. Mm-hmm. I might not be able to hang steel anymore, but I can TIG weld. I can sit right down. I can TIG weld. I can work as a mechanic. I worked for a mechanic for 3 years, Kia dealership, and little grease pro type of stuff, you know, changing oil and stuff like that. Having trades help out. And fortunately, a lot of generations, the newer generations, don't have skill sets. Mm-hmm. Now, there was something that I saw recently about AI taking over welding trades. True and false?
It'll be a long time before that actually happens.
Yeah, welding trade is very hands-on. Now, automated services like the factories, Ford dealership, things like that, yeah, that's on a similar line. It rolls through. That machine only has to do so many tack welds. It's programmed and rolls on through. Orbital welding is a robotic welder that runs the inside seams of pipes or on the outside seams of big tanks. Okay, that's orbital welding. You have to have a welder run that thing because you have to be able to visually see that the weld is performed correctly. My type of work, iron worker, the pipe welding I do, shipyard worker, you are barely able to get yourself in there using a mirror to weld on a backward angle, using a mirror, trying to weld, looking at that little tiny mirror. You can't get a machine in there. Mm-hmm. So jobs like that, it's going to be a long time. They have to rethink the whole construction process, manufacturing process to get the same job done. So the jobs that I do are safe for, you know, I'm saying the next 30, 40 years.
I think so.
Influx of welders, and you can check this out on American Welding Society website. They're talking about there's not many welders out there. That's true, because the new generation now don't want to do that type of work. That is very hard work. You get injured, just like recently with me. I've been injured many times in my life, all right, from welding trade, all right? It's dangerous stuff. So the problem is a lot of states don't want to pay certain wages for certain jobs. So when you got a $12 an hour welding job and you're killing yourself for it, but you can go down to McDonald's and make $15 an hour now, which one are you going to do?
Exactly.
You know, I'm not saying nothing bad about the new generation picking the easier one, because that's just
I think eventually we're going to get to a point where these trade jobs are going to be so high in demand that's whenever you will see people doing that dirty job that's frowned upon, right? They're going to be making more than the person that's got that easy little sit behind the desk, sit in your cubicle all day type job.
Yeah.
Right now, are those the winners? Yeah, the total zombies. Yeah, they're winning right now. But we're at this really interesting point, and this is actually something I really keep up with because whenever I have the money to do so and go to school, it's going to be for trade jobs. It's not going to be for something stupid where I can't go get a job. My dad actually pushes me really hard to go and do welding because that's one of the largest shortages that we have. And second, him and one of his buddies that actually owns kind of a welding company. He's welded all his life, and he's just old enough to a point now to send other guys out to go and do some work. I'm told by my dad and this guy that they are just, I don't know if it's because so much of the feminist movement, it doesn't have as much to do with that if people hear it that way, but they actually are looking for more women in this job force, just for those smaller things that you need to pay attention to a lot of detail. The science backs it up that women with those little tiny details we really care about and will look at harder. So my dad thinks that if I went for welding, that I would have no issue finding a job at all. In some ways, I still understand that for that job, that's still a man's world. Maybe it could be a little bit harder to find one, but once I get one, as long as I do my work correctly, that's a job that's here to stay for a long time. Like AI is not taking that away for, like you said, 30, 40 years. I think it would just be so much for the AI to have to learn. Like, are there some jobs that they could complete? Of course, really basic, easy, just autonomous type work. But there's a lot of things that require our own eyes to look at and say that that's fit, like that's ready to hold some weight on it, or what is it, other little detailed pieces that kind of stuff isn't going away for quite a while.
Yeah,
I mean,
and about women in the welding trade. I've been welding for 41 in January, 43 years. 23 years off and on. I worked other jobs and I was incarcerated for almost 3.5. I actually did welding there too, just to be, hey, it's what I know how to do. Welding pipes just for the fence post when we're building a new prison system there. But anyway, I actually worked with a lot of women that were welders. Okay, their hand-eye coordination, attention to detail, is actually superior to a man's. All right, hate to say that, guys. I've actually had women out-weld me. All right, and I'm pretty freaking good. All right, I'm a third-generation welder. I've been doing it for a very long time. I still got great eyesight as far as welding is concerned. The issue I had was I was working the shipyard there in Millville, Florida, right there, Panama City. We had one, but she was definitely straight feminazi. I can do anything a man can do. I cannot weld everybody. The science prove it. And she was a good welder. But the job consists more of just welding. When you're a welder, you're not a welder. You're a fitter. You're what we call a gopher. Pick up that piece of red iron, tote it up that flight of stairs. All right. Oh my God, I can't do that. I am a woman. No, you don't get to play that card.
I love those kinds. They're great, huh?
There is a difference between men and women. Okay, biologically there is. I don't care what this binary stuff ever comes out with. Most men, and I'm not talking about soy boy either. Oh my goodness, not those guys. I don't see them picking up a piece of red iron.
No.
They might try to sit on one, but anyway, we won't go there. Woo. Anyway, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. A man's biological structure is designed for toting heavy stuff. We're just designed for it. A woman is not supposed to, all right? I'm not saying women cannot do it. That's not what I'm saying at all, people. So don't get pissed at me for saying that. Women's body are also able to fight off more infection and disease than a male is. Biologically speaking, they produce life. They have to be able to take care of their own body structure and the life growing in them. Men are no match to women as far as biological, as far as fighting diseases and infections. A man does not have the chemical makeup for that. So yeah, they are superior in that. And yeah, I already see people pissed over this one. Hot poker for you. Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, I'm not talking bad about either sex. I'm just saying that we are different. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
in
one is
many
better than
areas,
the other. It's just
in
each
many
one.
areas for us, there are big differences, but that is okay. Like, I don't know what it is that people believe in, whether it's just God, higher power, alien vibes. I don't know what you believe in, but for some reason, man and woman were made differently. And in other areas, we are superior. There is no, how do I put this without making me sound bad or like I'm putting women down or men down?
Oh,
It's
you lose
hard.
your woman card. Oh, you've heard
I
that one.
know, right? Like you can't say anything anymore. Um, but there are several areas where we're supposed to be different. And in the society that we live in today, they want to tell you all day long that you're the same. And maybe we've come to a point because of soy boys being so weak and women having so many other hormones pumped into them that we look really equal. But I promise it's not supposed to be that way. Betty is not supposed to have a beard, not naturally.
Oh, I just saw Helen Dixon. Yes, I will agree. I can take on the world, but when I'm sick, I'm dying. You can ask my wife. She gave me this meme. It was a Walking Dead meme with old Rick. You know, he's got his big old pistol, you know, shooting rounds off, screaming, hollering, I'm taking on the world, and shows him in the bed, looks like he's dying, he's sick. I got a cold, I'm dying. Yes.
I was gonna ask if every time you just get a little sniffle, is that why they just turn into babies overnight? Boom. It's like you don't
like
have
to
a
be took care
fever.
of and pampered every now and then. Like, sweetheart, go get my coffee for me. I'm not feeling good. And then after the third time, really, get it yourself. Oh man, man colds are the worst. And you know what? It still comes down to the biological aspect of that. Women are able to deal with certain viruses, you know, cold, sickness, stuff like that, because they're biologically designed for that. Because they have to be. I hate to use the word caretaker, but it's the simplest form I can. Back in the day, they ran everything. You had, you know, the grunts out there. Oh, go hunt. Got clubs. Oh, here's meat. While the women ran everything. Guys don't do that. No, we're out there playing in the woods. Okay. Still today we do that. We go hunting.
And I mean, I don't. Even from a woman's perspective, I just don't get why people get their panties in a wad over hearing that.
I just feel like everyone feels like they're being attacked all the time.
Don't say that.
Oh, I like, and especially in today's society, when somebody says something, you know, like, what was it? The African American guy, he was voting, he had the MAGA hat on and everything. White dude runs up, knocks his hat off his head. You lose your black card. So, huh? So you're just talking about tolerance, but you just stereotype that man. So who's the racist?
Exactly.
Oh, you don't want to hear that. You know, you see this stuff all the time. That's just one example. I'm like, come on. And also, it goes on all aspects. Men, women. I've seen the feminazis break out and scream and holler and threaten death on a woman for having an opinion. And I'm like, how does that work? I thought y'all, what? You know, and it was all aspects, not just those groups, but you know, those are the ones that really dump down. And I'm like, huh? Oh yeah, this video is definitely gonna get nailed. I already know some things you're just not allowed to talk about.
Oh yeah. Oh, whatever we just said right there. That's like breaking all of the rules to YouTube. They don't let anything
that's their
do
problem.
that.
Yeah. You're not allowed to talk about it. You just have to go with the program. Don't use any common sense and think for yourself on trying to figure out things and find faults in a system, because you have to blindly follow. Okay. I'm sorry. I would say I wasn't made from cookie cutter, but I mean, have you seen these sideburns? Oh, I like to have fun. Okay, so we are pushing 2 hours and 14 minutes there, Fringe. So if you're good with it, and if we don't have any questions or anything anybody want to throw at us, we'll be wrapping up very soon.
Yeah, as long as if anybody does have a question, feel free to ask. But I think this stream went pretty well. Hopefully, we can do this again.
Until the last 20 minutes when we went off completely.
We did. We have our rants here and there, but that's just a part of YouTube. That's the fun in things. All right.
All right. I'm not saying anything here. I get a couple more minutes just in case someone's trying to type out a huge paragraph.
Yeah, they're asking to me.
No huge paragraph for you, Reed. I already see it coming. I did see CJ Blaze step in here for a minute. Sorry, didn't holler at you, but I'm glad you did step in. Absolutely, Lexi. All right. Okay. Well, if you want to tell everybody good night and all that good stuff, or tell them to go get bent, whatever you want to do, you go right ahead.
All right, everybody, go get bent. No, I'm totally kidding. I love you guys. Thanks for being a part of the stream. Hopefully we didn't rant too much. Hopefully we actually had some good info, but I think whenever you have minds like ours, you go a little bit off topic, but thanks, guys.
All right, friend.
Thanks for having me on, CFP.
Absolutely, definitely want to have you back. Yeah, whenever you have free time and stuff, just give me a holler. I'm going to try to get WV on next Friday. Hopefully everything goes good with that. And yeah, definitely don't be a stranger. You can always come on, and you can always call in whenever I'm doing live streams. So you know that. So definitely. Oh, there's CJ Blaze. I knew I saw her in here.
She was making dinner earlier.
Oh, making dinner?
Yeah.
All right. So I am going to close you out, and then I'm going to finish up here and close everything off. Fringe, again, thank you. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with me here. All right, guys. So we had Fringefiles here. She has been a huge help on the channel here. She has been one of our subscribers for a good while now. She does have her own channel. CJ Blaze did get her YouTube channel up there for y'all. If you are not subscribed to her, please definitely subscribe. Like we talked about before, she is actually homesteading now. She's finally got everything situated out there. They are on site now, so you can definitely expect to see a lot more videos from her on that and other things too. And again, guys, I apologize for that rain. I have no control over that. WV not going live. Okay, got that. Hopefully next Friday night I can get you on here with me. I'll text you, see if we can do that or not. But all right, guys. So again, thank you all for sticking around here, putting up with all my BS. But I'm gonna go on inside. I appreciate y'all sticking around with all that rain racket. It wasn't raining when I first got out here, getting everything set up, and then boom, there it is. So keep on getting the downpour every time the wind blows a tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, and you guys have a great night. Today is Friday. I'm hoping I should have another video out by Monday for y'all. So until then, I'll speak to y'all later.